me separaron. Dijeron mucho, pero no se olvidaron de callarse. Cuánto odio por mi piel sembraron. Dijeron historia y la tergiversaron. Dijeron guerra, muerte, odio y nos culparon. Enfermedades, epidemias nos contagiaron. Exterminación de mi fauna complace a tus mercados. Dijeron riqueza y todo se lo robaron. Oro, platino, diamante, a la fuerza se lo llevaron. Y la actualidad es tan triste que todo aquello que dijeron es lo mismo que hoy se dice más. ¿Quién dice, quién explota, quién se beneficia? El asesino, el mismo que da las noticias. Hay una cuenta fácil que siempre me da las grandes riquezas, de dónde vienen y hacia dónde van.
Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao. Nati Dre es afroresistencia, cultura ancestral, afrodescendencia, solidaridad. Esa es la esencia, la diáspora africana eleva la conciencia, conciencia negra, universal, progresista y transcultural. Negros y mestizos revolucionando, pueblos caribeños y africanos en un solo bando. No más explotación, colonialismo interno, no más confusión, supremacía blanca en el Babilón. Soy rojo, negro y verde, afroliberación. Mientras más negro, más represión. Somos creadores, recupera tu visión. Mi visión es educar con amor, contra el silencio, vivo sin temor. Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao.
What's happening, good people? What's happening? What's happening? We are live. This is the Rise Up Morning Show. What's going on? How y'all doing, fam?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
Hey,
Good.
everything's peace. So hooroo.
Hooroo. Yes. Listen, for folks that don't know, I know y'all like, what the hell is going on? We don't know. We just got here. They just threw us up on the screen. Anyway, this is the Rise Up Morning Show. This is an international morning show, and today is our inaugural joint right here. We rising up. How you brothers doing? Y'all good over there? What?
Yeah.
Doing great, man. Looking forward.
Okay. Y'all looking kind of nervous, man. I might have to bring a sister on. I'm waiting for our sister Ife to turn her camera on. I don't think they're ready for it yet. You know, but yeah. So we are here. We are grateful to be here, and we're looking forward to building this serious platform, this serious morning show. I am Kalanji Changa for folks who are not familiar. As you see on the screen, we have several hosts. We have 6 hosts to be exact. We have joining us from Las Vegas. We have my man Isaac Jasper. Isaac, how you feeling, brother?
Doing good. Proud to be here. Thankful for this opportunity to rock out with you guys from the morning show, Rise Up. So thank you.
No doubt. He's saying it like he a guest. You're a host, brother. What you talking about? No, I'd like to thank you all for inviting me. What are you talking about? Anyway, we got from Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? The place where I used to rip all the MCs up back in the 80s and whatnot. We got my man.
I gotta verify that. I have to verify that. But yeah,
come on, man.
Take my word. I'm happy to be here. To be a part of this endeavor. So feeling amazing right now.
Let's get it in. We have another brother over here. It's Cat. He's a former pro basketball player. You know what I'm saying? That's the word on the street. You know, and that was his group that was rocking in the beginning. Miles the song. He's out of he's in France. right now, so we're not gonna talk too bad about France, but we gonna definitely talk about them. But we got my man Fernando in the building. Fernando, how you feeling, brother?
Peace. What's good, everybody? Happy to be here. Kalonji gonna introduce me as a ball player. That's it, huh? Okay, that's cool.
I'm sorry, man. We gonna get into it. Yeah. But I mean, you can let the folks know, who you are and what you do, brother. You don't have to,
So good. Yeah. No, definitely a basketball player, man. Pan Africanist. Hip hop artist. Podcast host. All that.
No doubt. We happy to have you on board. We got another brother over here who, we call him a movement model because you know what I'm saying. He was, we seen him doing some things we're not sure, but this brother right here, he's another brother over in France. You know what I mean? His French was questioned. I ain't no snitch. I ain't gonna tell you. Kimbo was like, "Yo, how you speak so your English is so well if you're in France." We got my man Bona. Bona, what's happening, brother?
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be on the show. I've been following Black Power Media for over 4 years now, and obviously I'm very excited to be joining you guys as part of the International Pan-African Program, bringing together different members of the African family throughout the world. Obviously I'm speaking to you from France, as Kalonji said. I'm from Senegal, that's where I was born. I grew up in the suburbs of Paris. Mali is also from Cabo Verde, the country of Amilcar Cabral. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. I'm also a member of the Pan-African League Umoja, the French section. So Fernando is a comrade of mine. I've been on his podcast a couple of times. Don't have my own, but I've been interviewing people. So including Dr. Jerry Horn, an Activist News Network for the Maibri program, which is a multi-program in which we talk about African resistance to slavery, resistance to colonialism, imperialism, and white supremacy. So shout out to Black Power Media, shout out to Kalonji, who's a role model for not only for me and Fernando, but many of the brothers who are based in France. And salute to all the brothers and sisters who are going to follow us from throughout the African diaspora.
No doubt. Appreciate that, Muna. Appreciate all you brothers, because I know that you are serious organizers. You come from serious organizations, and I'm just as honored. But it's too many of y'all. We need some sisters up on here. So you know what I'm saying. So, I had to go to the West Coast, and I'm gonna move her up here. As a guest, we're gonna move him down to the bottom. But this sister right here, I've been known for 20 years, a little over 20 years now. When I first came to the first event that I hosted with any other organization outside of organization was with the sister right here. We co-hosted the Black August event.
Going out again, bro.
Okay, can you all hear me pretty good? Okay.
Goes in and out a little bit.
As soon as I start talking, they wanna block.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Well, sister, who I've known for 20 years, as I mentioned, she's a serious organizer as well. I want to give it up to our sister, Jai. How you doing, Dr. J? Good.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we hear you good.
Crisp.
Your mic is smooth.
It better be. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
So I am Ife Jai. I'm introducing myself. That's what the notes say.
No doubt. Yes.
All right. So it's a pleasure to be here. Balancing this vibration out with all this strong masculinity. It's an honor to represent for the ladies. So I am here based in Los Angeles. I'm from South Central Los Angeles originally. And I have, like Kalonji said, I've been an organizer in the community for several years. I was born and raised in revolutionary work. And so my passion is hip hop. As many of you, I'm creative. I'm a creative. I'm a hip hop artist as well. But my mission is to make sure that we don't forget the revolutionary spirit within hip hop culture. I have called for the culture to take what I referred to as a street Sankofa, I think it's time for us to go back and to remember that hip hop has this very powerful, revolutionary, activist, very passionate element to it. And it gets us going when we use it properly. So some of us have remembered that, and we've embodied that with the music, the RBG kind of underground subculture of hip hop music has definitely held that down. But I think that's a narrative that we all need to have fresh on our minds, that y'all do remember hip hop can be used for our liberation, right? So that's my mission and that's my thing. So yeah, I am Dr. J. I'm also an African Studies professor. And so I do love educating our people. I think there is a moment where many of us who make this shit look good, we're in the driver's seat now. So it's important for us to take our people to the right places, man. So I'm very grateful also to be a professor, because professors didn't look like me when I was going to school, but I come into the classroom doing what we do, acting how we act, talking like how we talk. You know what I mean? And we make this revolutionary shit look sexy. And I'm grateful for that. And I say sexy in a very non-romantic way, because I think that's the part of the revolution that we can't forget, is that it gotta get sexy. It gotta turn people on, you know what I mean? Quite literally, and make them have that passion and that commitment, So that's my mission. That's my movement. Ife Jai is my name. Dr. J is the handle, So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yo, Ife, we are honored to have you on board as a host. Only thing I gotta challenge you on, when you said sexy, you got Boona. He about to, you look at him right now. He about to lose it. You know what I'm saying? He like, yeah, she told me I could do this. You know what I'm saying? He already think he Willie D. Williams. So that's
make it sexy, baby. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Make it sexy.
Our in-house Willie D. Williams. He's here with us today. But anyway, so definitely glad to have you all on board. Again, this is the first show. We didn't make an announcement, nothing. We just said that we're going to get down. We're going to come on here. We ain't going to do no dry run. This is the dry run. You know what I mean? And we were going to rock it and do what we had to do, because we are serious about our culture. We're serious about our people. And, so for this first show, we want to let folks know to, as they say in YouTube world, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, because we're going to be bringing you some heavy duty things. Matter of fact, we have a guest that'll be coming on later today in the next hour. You know what I mean? A brother who is a veteran in our People's Liberation Movement. And, we're going to let it do what it do. So how y'all feeling, man? How y'all feel about this whole Rise Up morning show thing? I know some of y'all looking nervous, man. What's good? Talk to me. I ain't come here to look at y'all. What's good?
I'm excited, man. But I love what Ife was talking about, because definitely actually here with our organization, we just came off of this event that we put together that's called Pan-African Hip Hop.
Dope.
And we definitely, that's what it's about. We had a whole big time event over here in Paris, and it was about, hip hop as a revolutionary and Pan-Africanist culture, so just make sure people know where this shit came from and what we're about when we say hip hop, I think it's important. So
anything I could do to support that, bro. We got books and things that we've written about. We got a whole thing called Social Justice and Hip Hop. I think that's a part of why this is also awesome, that this Rise Up platform is here, because the people are ready. I think we're starting to all be on the same wavelength. They kind of fucked up when they gave us social media, because it made us have more access to each other. You know what I'm saying? And even though these platforms are controlled in some ways, we still have opportunities to still break bread. And that's the thing. We're all experiencing the same reality in real time. You know what I mean? So I love that y'all are feeling that in Paris, because that's the one thing I do think that brings us together too, is the culture. Hip hop is everywhere. And at this point, if an artist were to rock the Palestinian, where, right, we know that there's a moment that signals a trigger. It's like the Hunger Games, you know what I mean? It's like a sign to us, right? So hip hop is the vehicle. You feel me? So I love that we're even able to do this right here, because I think it's time for us to start to express ourselves in a real authentic way. And that obviously the music is a platform, but this is it as well. So thank you, Kalonji, for continuing to do this work, because it's a lot of shit going on.
Without a doubt. Matter of fact, I think we got to do a Rise Up mixtape. We ain't even gonna play with y'all. Come with it, hard body. Yeah. So You know, I know some folks, you know, they were confused and they didn't know whether Black Power Media was going to keep that Black Power, but you know what we do around here. And if you don't know, you know now. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take this quick spin off. We're going to go to a quick little 5-minute break. We're going to come back. And for this first episode, you know, for the record, usually we'll have news, we'll have all types of different things going on first hour, but we want you to get to know the hosts themselves. So when they come back for this particular episode, I'll be interviewing the other hosts, so we can kind of get familiar with each other, so you get an understanding that here on the Rise Up Morning Show, in order for you to be a host, in order for you to be a guest, or whatever the case is, you have to be a part of an organization, or you got to be an organizer, because we want to make sure that our politics are on point. We want to make sure that we have political education, and in that way there will be no confusion at all. And as Ife said, we can make that shit look fly and keep it moving, because that's what it's all about. We're going to go to this quick break. We'll be right back.
Sexy.
Hey, man, that's for Boona. Go ahead.
And we will never be whole in the world until we realize wherever we are on the face of this earth, be it the Caribbean islands, be it the United States, be it the Pacific, our political and cultural heartbeat is Africa. Nobody voluntarily frees anybody. This is why I was totally unimpressed with the election in South Africa. Nelson Mandela has no power. He don't control his chauffeur. Let him step too far out of line. His chauffeur has a gun that white people gave him, and the chauffeur will kill him on orders of the white people. This is a case where figuratively we bet on the wrong political horse. The real liberation fighter in South Africa was not Nelson Mandela, it was Winnie Mandela. When someone takes your freedom, they don't voluntarily give it back to you. The only way you can get it back is to take it back. After the African independence explosion, the Civil Rights Movement, the Caribbean Federation Movement, there were too many of us out front talking. Some of us should have been behind the scene training. Some of us should have been pulled some of these young people off the line and said that, look, soon we will be controlling nations. Oceanography for you. Medicine for you. Metallurgy for you. Airport design for you. We should not shout nation time until we are ready to do every single thing that goes into the maintenance of a nation. And once we are ready to do everything that goes into the maintenance of a nation, including standard armies, mines, we will beg no more. We will plead no more. We will cry no more. We will take back what belongs to us and march into the power arena of the world and speak with a single African voice. Our Holocaust that started 500 years ago will only end when we mastered the science of state control, harbor control, ship control, nation maintenance, nation management. We owe this to ourselves. We owe this to our children, their children, and the still more beautiful ones waiting to be born. Thank you very much.
Happy good people, this is the Rise Up Morning Show. How y'all feeling? Y'all good?
Yep. Rise up.
Man, listen, man. Dr. John Henrik Clarke, you know, when I lived in Connecticut, there used to be a spot called the First World Alliance, and he was one of the founders of the First World Alliance. Him, Dr. Ben, Sister Kefra, and Brother Bill. So we would go out to, every Saturday, we would go to this church where the First World Alliance was held, and they would have nothing but giants. You would go, you would see the Dr. Clarks, the Dr. Bens, the Theophila Bangers, who worked with not Frantz Fanon, with
Shahanta Diop, right?
Yes.
Senegalese scholar, yeah.
Yes, Mama Marimba Ani, and so many other folks. Wade Nobles. I remember the first time I had the opportunity to stand up. To me, that was the Madison Square Garden of revolution, of culture, of Black culture. And I remember one time they asked me to stand up and give a report on political prisoners. And I was nervous as hell. I was like, me? He's like, yeah, go get a report. Now, they're like, man, what's wrong with you? Go up there and, speak. I was deaf nervous because I come from an era where when you are allowed to speak, then you have to have something to say. You don't just get on a microphone because you got a YouTube channel. Or you don't just get on a microphone because you got a microphone. You know what I mean? You had to earn your stripes. So I remember that day well. That day I opened up for Renoko Rashidi, who is also an ancestor. At this particular point, so we say rise in power to all the good people we named. Of course, Mama Marimba and Theophila Banga are still here, so we're grateful for them. But I want to ask you all, that clip right there, we can go, anyone can answer, did it resonate and what did it mean to you? Or was he just talking? Anybody can get down.
I think for us to say that he was just talking, I mean, I know in the context of this, he was just playing around, but some, might take that seriously. No, Dr. Clarke is someone who you should deeply, deeply be listening to, using his intellect that he's left behind because he is no longer here with us, and fortifying that for what he spoke about in that video. All of that is truthful. All of that resonates in reality. It's apparent today that it's needed. And so that's what the Rise Up Morning Show is about, is invigorating these ideologies, these ancestors' ability to still touch hearts, to still, like Dr. J said, a big part of making revolution sexy is, Dr. Clarke, it don't get any sexier than that. So
right on. That was some G. That was straight up. And I want to acknowledge our brother Isaac and also Sister May for the video editing and the graphics and whatnot. They did a great job in making us look good in short notice. So definitely appreciate what it is. Anybody else want to add on as far as what you all thought about that clip?
Hey, Dr. Clarke, that's master teacher right there. And, that's my foundation right there. When I coming into the knowledge, into this information, back in the day we say knowledge itself. When I was gaining knowledge itself, he was one of the master teachers I was studying, and I think what we're doing right here is an indication of what Dr. Clarke is talking about, that African heartbeat. And Nkrumah talked about an African personality. So when you have Africans in France, in Las Vegas, in Philadelphia, and Atlanta, just coming together and doing this, we're implementing what Dr. Clarke wants us to do, which is bring African people together internationally to rise up. Like the title of this show. So he's not just talking; he's giving us a message. I appreciate that clip, man.
No doubt. Anybody else, Boona?
Yeah, a couple of points. Yeah, first of all, Dr. Henrik Clarke is a source of inspiration, or at least should be for all the scholars, because I think he doesn't have any formal college education, right? So he made his own way to being one of the greatest historians and scholars that we've ever had in African history. He was also one of those scholars who are trying to carry out the legacy of the African Revolution, which, as you know, in the US has been unfortunately defeated. Many of the scholars have actually defected to the political system that was giving privileges in exchange of then backing down from the support to African liberation struggle, right? Scholars, activists have actually made a deal with the US imperialism, which explains why today you have so many Africans, African Americans, or descendants of slaves who are now holding key positions in the US administration, which is one of the most violent, this current administration, Biden administration, which is one of the most violent, genocidal, horrific administration that we've ever had in the history of the US, right? So Dr. Henrik Clarke was one of those activists and scholars who were committed to African liberation, who was sincerely involved in building bridges with brothers and sisters of the African diaspora. And what he said about South Africa was very powerful and resonates with the political developments in South Africa. Because as you probably know, there have been elections in South Africa, I think it was last month. And for the first time since 1994, I guess the video that just showed was from 1994, but because that was the year of election of Nelson Mandela. 30 years later, the whites have never been so powerful in the South African political system. Now they hold key ministries in the current government because, as you know, the ANC, this petty bourgeois coalition, has made an alliance with several white supremacist parties, including FF Plus and the DA, Democratic Alliance, which now holds key positions in the South African government, including key ministries, including the Minister of Home Affairs. Okay, so those white supremacists will be in charge of oppressing and repressing our brothers and sisters from Zimbabwe, from Zambia, all the Africans who are trying to make it to South Africa because of the economic situation in their own countries, right? And the last thing I wanted to say before, because I've talked too much now, is, I think I don't know how it is in the US, but definitely in the so-called Francophone world, the victory against apartheid is something that has been underreported and is currently underestimated by the descendants of Africans. I've been reading biographies of anti-apartheid stalwarts, whether whites or blacks, including Wu First, a scholar journalist who was assassinated by the South African government in 1982. Chris Hani, the leader of South African Communist Party, who was assassinated in 1993, 1 year before the election that brought Mandela to power. Anyways, my point is that there are a lot of people who are underestimating the impact of that victory over apartheid, okay? Because despite the ideological differences that Africans globally had, including in the US, they were able to come together and put pressure on the United States government and Western governments, take arms in some cases to bring down the apartheid regime. And I think it's one of the most successful fights we fought in the 20th century. And as Dhoruba usually says, one of the issues that we have is that we are not, one of the challenges that the younger generation is facing is that we are not in touch with our radical history. That includes the fight against apartheid. So I think that one of the task that we'll have to carry out is to make sure that the younger generation, our generation, and the generation that will come up after us will be aware of the sacrifices that Africans, not only South Africa, but also in the so-called frontline states, which includes Zimbabwe, Zambia, Namibia, and also the African diaspora, the sacrifices they've made to make South Africa free, despite the setbacks that everybody can see nowadays.
No doubt, no doubt. We appreciate that. Buna said, yo, listen, I just got 3 answers. And
He gave us.
I said a couple of points, but I can keep talking for hours.
Nah. But no, we definitely appreciate that, because again, that's why I wanted to know perspective, because everything resonates with us all in different ways, but it all comes to one conclusion. We have to be clear about our enemies, our comrades, our friends, our allies, etc. Because if not, we'll be confused. And the one thing that I appreciate about Dr. Clarke, and I'm gonna get to Fernando and Dr. J, is him mentioning Winnie. You know what I mean? And the importance of Winnie before and after, because we often hear about Nelson, but when it comes to Winnie, it's like as if she was just his wife, and that was the business. And we know that that's what patriarchy and imperialism, colonization does. Fernando, Ife, how y'all want to do this? Either one.
Yeah, I guess that's a good segue to tag me in as the woman on the group. I'm gonna be honest. I was posting something on TikTok when we were playing that clip, so I didn't pay attention to it all the way. So now I know. Pay attention to the clips. No, but always multitasking. No, but I was listening while I was posting it. I do think first and foremost, Dr. John Henrik Clarke is an invaluable resource. I use his work often. It's one of the first things actually I introduce our students to when we are talking about African consciousness and African history. We have to talk about Dr. John Henrik Clarke. He has to be step one. You know what I mean? So I love his work. One of the things that I do love also is that you mentioned Dr. Marimba Ani. She has taken up so much of his legacy and has, done her, what is it called? A Bakasumsum, the event that she does annually, that really brings the whole community together in honor of Dr. John Henrik Clarke and so many other warriors throughout our history. To celebrate these folks is a very powerful thing. So shouts out to Dr. Marimba Ani as well. One of the things that I will say that I remember in my studies was learning about Winnie Mandela, because we didn't really learn about Winnie. We knew about Nelson, that he was the poster child of the apartheid movement, especially for us here in the States. So when I finally learned about Winnie, it brought to the light how much of our women's stories are put to the side in our liberation movements. I think about Winnie. I also think about people like Ella Baker. I think about Queen Mother Moore. I think about, so many other women that we've seen really be these pillars in these social movements. So I can appreciate that Dr. John Henrik Clarke was able to at least acknowledge, Winnie was the one. Really what they say is that she was more revolutionary and more militant than Nelson Mandela was, and for some of us, that is not the narrative that we usually affiliate with women and femininity, is this gangster mentality. But they say that Winnie was the one that was really the gangster and had very clear political ideology about being very pro-South African by any means necessary, So I guess my contribution to this moment is to acknowledge behind every good man, there's no doubt some gangster ass woman probably holding the strap in the cut. So
did you see her in that video? Did you see her in the intro? She was telling off them police officers, like, you better get them kids out that damn car. I'm not playing with you.
Listen,
there's some people that say she was a little too gangster.
Right.
I've heard the same of Amy Garvey. They said that Amy Garvey was really like gun toting with all of the shits. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, we would never know about these no nonsense playing as women. When you look at Fannie New Hamer, you could tell she was not playing with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So shouts out to these powerful women. Yeah.
Hey, but Ife, since you mentioning women, I would be remiss to not mention some of our OGs and ancestors right here in Atlanta. Of course, we know you're in LA now, but I know you from
Yeah.
Atlanta. But
Mama
we
and
can't,
Jerry,
no
Sister
doubt.
Fulani.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we've had some powerful women we've been blessed to be in
Yeah.
company with. Yeah.
So when you talk about, Fulani Suni Ali was one of my generals, right?
No
And shout
doubt.
out to Baba Bilal Suni Ali and in his work, with uh, Imam Jamil, his work
Yeah.
as, a veteran Panther and, a artist with Gil Scott Heron's Midnight Band. But Fulani Suni Ali, she was hard body. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? When I say that she's was one of my generals, she's one of the people I learned from most. And I got some gangster OGs, but hands down, you know what I'm saying? I place her at the top. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I
Right
say
on.
that, I say that because oftentimes folks get it twisted, and we can get into that. But right now, with the whole gender roles and gender conformity, so on and so forth, folks just automatically assume that, oh, well, you must be this, or you can't accept women leadership. And indeed, there are a lot of folks who don't and can't accept women leadership, but they're doing themselves a disservice. In fact, I say that on this date right here, while we're recording this program, we commemorate and celebrate the birthday of another Queen Mother, Asada Shakur, who turned 77 years old today.
Ah, Shay. All right. Happy birthday.
Happy
No
birthday.
doubt.
Happy born day.
So it's a good day to rise up. Every day is a good day
Yes,
for
it is.
revolution. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
it is.
Every day is a good day to rise up. My man Fernando, you know what I mean? We know, they tell me that, you're in France, but you said you Afro-Cuban, so we want to make sure, you know what I mean, you good. Is he good, Buna? What's up? Fernando good or what? Buna ain't co-signing, I'm not sure.
Buna just gave us our own around the horn drilled horn report, so I mean,
definitely did that. But nah, that's mandatory. Buna was trying to flex on y'all to let y'all know he's just African.
I
He's
felt
just African fronting. He just wants y'all
I
to know.
felt it.
Buddha broke it down. Yeah, Buddha broke it down. No doubt, man. As the comrade said, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, definitely one of our greatest, educators. And I just think as African people, if we're serious about this, if we're serious about revolution, if we're serious about liberation, anytime Dr. John Henrik Clarke is speaking, it's time to listen and learn, without a doubt. So yeah.
Yeah. Now you talking about a man who went blind researching. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So when you talk about, I think it was, I don't know if it was Boona or Isaac that mentioned that he wasn't a quote unquote lettered man, right?
Right.
You had to respect him, and Ife mentioned Mama Marimba.
Yeah.
She was a student of his. You know what I mean? She was one of the people that he was one of the people that encouraged her to do what it is that she does, and she came out of SNCC, for folks who aren't aware of that situation, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. In fact, a quick sidebar: the FTP movement, we gave out 3 Lifetime Achievement Awards. The first one was to Amiri Baraka, and the second and third together was Dhoruba bin Wahad and Marimba Ani. So that's what we think of Mama Marimba.
Can I say something too, just about Dr. John Henrik Clarke?
You're a host. You want to wait for me. Go
okay. Now, I think what's powerful is that we all go back and re-look at some of his lectures, because that's one of those people that you can't study enough. You rewatch something, you reread something, you catch something new. That's one of those people. So I just want to put that out there. Dr. John Henrik Clarke is never a bad look to go back, because some of the jewels that he drops, it's like the historical timeline that he paints for us. Some of us really couldn't appreciate it at the time that he was delivering it to us. But now that historical timeline is starting to catch up to us. You know how this narrative of, indigenous Americans, right? The Native Americans that we see aren't the Native Americans that they really were more African, more melanated. They just look different. That timeline, Dr. John Henrik Clarke talks about that. And he talked about that years ago. You know what I mean? But people weren't ready to receive a lot of the stuff that Dr. John Henrik Clarke had discovered. The world wasn't able to disrupt their narratives. But now we're ready to receive that. So I just want to encourage everybody to go back and really look at his work, because I think we can appreciate it in a different kind of way now. You know what I mean? It's like the gumbo has all the flavors and settled, and it's been sitting in the refrigerator for a little while. And you go and get that gumbo gonna be real delicious day 3, day 4. That Dr. John Henrik Clarke is like that old gumbo, man. Just go back and get a taste. Go back and get a taste.
He was ahead of his time.
No doubt. No doubt.
So I want to ask you.
Can I make a comment on the?
Yeah, get down.
Yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to build on what our sister Ife said on the role of women and the importance of women in the struggle against racism, white supremacy in colonialism in South Africa. You know, we recently translated article, quite long article on Jose Mpama. She's little known. She's not very famous. A lot of people don't know her, including in the so-called activist movements. But she also played a key role in the fight against apartheid. She was one of the first female black members of the South African Communist Party. And she played a key role in the resisting apartheid. She was one of the founding members of the Federation of South African Women, FETSO. And there is also another one who was actually assassinated in France. Her name is Dulce September. She was assassinated in 1985, if I'm not mistaken. And she was the representative of the ANC here in Paris. And she was assassinated while doing investigation on the violation of the arms embargo by France back then. So some of them have actually, I've also mentioned Ruth First, who was assassinated in 1982. So women have actually sacrificed their lives trying to set us free, right? So I think it's also something that we have to, if not do more research on, either do more research on or make it available to the public, right? Because all of the figures that we're talking about, there are very few resources, at least in France. And last thing, very quickly, the lessons from the anti-apartheid struggle can also explain why I'm wearing this today, right? Because when our brothers and sisters were fighting against the racist white supremacist colonial regime of South African apartheid, one of the most fascist regimes, if not the most fascist regime that people African descent or Africans have ever experienced on the continent, while they were fighting against that regime, guess who was selling billions of weapons, billions of dollars of weapons to South Africa? The first exporter of arms to South Africa, when our brothers and sisters in Namibia, Angola, South Africa, Zimbabwe were being killed by the white supremacists, was the state of Israel, right?
Wow.
Right, and this is also something that, despite the fact that starting from the 1970s, a lot of black organizations and black people have been denouncing, the relationship between Israel and apartheid South Africa. There are still a lot of people now, still a lot of blacks who are not aware of that part of history. That's why I'm always saying that if you're black, if you're African, if you're Pan-African, you should never be afraid of being called anti-Semitic because you side with the Palestinians. Because when our brothers and sisters were fighting against the white supremacist, anti-Semitic regime of apartheid South Africa, it was Israel that was providing the weapons to kill our brothers and sisters. And this we will never forget. And that's why we have to express, at least that's my position. I know it's sometimes controversial. We have to express our solidarity with our brothers and sisters from Palestine.
Amen. You heard it here first from Boona. What we're gonna task Boona to do, because he named several sisters who are important to our liberation movement, and I think that one of the things that we would like to offer here at Rise Up Morning Show, because let's face it, there's no morning show like this. I'm sorry. It's not a disrespect. It's not a disregard. You're not going to catch this anywhere. The political education alone. I mean, Ife just said we made political education look sexy. So I don't even understand. What you going to say after that? But what I would like to do is in the, and I see Boona over there on the side leaving us the information. We're going to put that in the in the body of the video. We want to make sure that folks go back and check out, because we're not just playing clips just to play clips and look cute. We're not just talking just because we have mouths. We want to make sure that we educate, liberate, and celebrate, the victories that we've had. We have a few more minutes before our guests come on. I want to ask you all a very important question, because here it is. We literally on this page right here, we have 3 different time zones. So the fact that you have 6 brothers and sisters on this particular platform right now, 6 different time zones, is speaking volumes. And this is our morning show, so don't get it twisted. We're going to tell you what time we're doing this. Just don't worry about it. It's the morning. But anyway, and when Dhoruba comes on, there'll be 4 different time zones. But I want to ask you all, because along with these time zones, we have a couple different generations. Now, I'm not going to say who's older and who's younger. Just say I'm one of the youngest on the platform in my mind. However, I want to ask you all, because as Ife mentioned, there's, a lot of our freedom fighters, a lot of our scholars, so on and so forth, have damn near been forgotten by the generation to follow. You understand? Some of the names we name, people quite possibly haven't heard of because they're not from the popular scene or the popular crowd. I want to ask you all, how important is, first I want to ask you why you think that is. And secondly, it's a 2-part question. I'm doing a booner right now. I'm gonna ask y'all 8 questions. I'm gonna just say 2. But I want to ask you, how important is political education and joining an organization? And we can do a round robin on that if you all don't mind. I think we'll start with maybe Fernando and come back around, if that's cool. Matter of fact, Ikemba, if you don't mind. We'll just come back around.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the question. I think, of course, a lot of what has to do with this generation, the younger generation, not knowing those elders that put in the work, and those who have transitioned, has a lot to do, of course, with education at home, as well as the schools not being under our control, under the control of African people. Because if we controlled it, revolutionary Africans controlled it, we will be educating them for liberation. And there's certain people that they need to know to inspire and also learn from. If you look at, even during the civil rights movement, there was these citizenship schools that was created, with Henrik Clarke was a part of. I think Bernice is it Johnson, I think was the other one who was a part of that out of North Carolina. But they were educating, part of that movement to educate the masses of African people was taking them back to their history, learning about the Nat Turners, the Denmark Vessies, like learning that history that they weren't getting in the school system. And that was to motivate and inspire them. So the education piece is important. We don't control the schools, so their education is limited. And if they was to learn about Huey P. Newton and learn about Kwame Ture, it might inspire them to do something that the state don't want them to do. But also at home, we have to be able to educate our children about these people in home. It's our duty. And so I had twin boys. If you ask them about Huey P. Newton, they know about Huey P. Newton, right? But I'm in a movement. I'm an organizer. Everyone is an organizer. So there's a lot of nuance to that. But to your other question, you asked the importance of political education. Where to begin? Political education is very important, because and the type of political education, because I believe that you're receiving, so everything is politics, and there's a type of political education that you're receiving in the public school system. That's my belief. But the political education that we're talking about is a political education for liberation, and it gives us some direction, it gives us some discipline. some understanding on the process that's needed to be taken to liberate ourselves, um, and I think there's there's a lot to gain from it. But I think the importance when we're talking about political education under this system, it gives us the right understanding of colonialism, of colonial capitalism. What does that mean? It's an opportunity to define really like what this system is and what we need to do to liberate ourselves from a system of oppression and repression and slavery. So I think it's important. It's the first step into liberating ourselves to be able to take the right type of action to free ourselves from colonialism. Because without political education, I think we're kind of just like walking around blind to what's like really happening to ourselves and our people around us. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I think I touched on all of the questions, hopefully.
No doubt. No, that's all good. We have a couple minutes before we go to break. Anybody else want to add on to that particular question or?
Yeah. Just wanna stress the importance that, I mean, I think one of the first things we have to understand is that, we're at war, and I think unfortunately a lot of our people don't necessarily know or understand that. But once we understand that, then we understand the importance of organizing, right? Because we understand that individually there's only so much we can do. We understand that, as African people, community is what it's all about. Organization, community is what we're about. That's our culture. That's all we know as African people, right? And the opposite of that is the system of oppression, which is based in individuality, etc. Right. So I think that's the main point. Also, as far as political education, I think another thing that's important to understand is that, our enemies spent a lot of time and resources in depoliticizing of the masses, right? So that's something to understand, to think about, and to study, right? And so political education really, Amilcar Cabral spoke about how, there's no successful revolution without revolutionary theory, right? We understand like we have to be about action, but without a proper ideology, without proper political education, we don't know where we're going, right? So that's a key aspect of the struggle, without a doubt.
Yeah. So let me just jump in really quickly and make this really fast. I think a part of what I want to contribute is that when we learn the stories of our heroes and sheroes, we learn that revolutionary actions are possible. When students learn the story of Nat Turner, they're like, what? He really did that? No, he really did that. When you learn the story of people like Assata Shakur, you're like, she really did that? No, she really did that. So I think that a part of the education is the possibilities being tangible for us. It becomes not something that's superficial. It becomes something that we really can touch and see and duplicate. And that's the fear. If I teach these students of these stories, or one of my favorites is the Deacons of Defense, when you start learning about how just the regular brothers came together to defend themselves of the KKK, these types of stories make our people realize these things are possible and that they are a part of who we are, and the fear is now out of our minds. It's like, oh, what are we scared of? There is no spoon for real. What are we waiting for? There is no time limit. You know what I mean? So I love telling our stories, especially powerful stories of victory and success when we talk about revolutionary action. So that's my contribution. It makes it, the future of it makes it really tangible. It makes it real.
Right out. So we're gonna go to Isaac real quick.
Yeah, no, I think what resonates for me on the first question on why a lot of individuals don't know certain revolutionary radical thinkers from our past is it goes back to a phrase that I use a lot that Walter Rodney quotes in Grounding with My Brothers, where he said, they can give you a house, they can give you a nice car, they can give you a home, but at expense to what? Your black soul. And that's what we are seeing. And what we have seen is that we've seen individuals conform to a system that has told them that revolutionary radical thought theory, guerrilla grassroots movements are not feasible, that they're not and I'm saying that in quote unquote because I don't believe that shit. I think on the second part, if you can kind of help me rehash my memory. What was the second question that you had asked?
Organization, getting into an organization.
Organization is very, very key. A big part of why I do what I do. It wouldn't be what it is if I wasn't connected intrinsically to an organization or have comrades that are, you know, connected to other organizations via being their own organizers. And so an example I can give to that is me and Fernando have been rocking with each other for well over 7 months now when it comes to creating content and making sure that we're putting correct narratives out there. And so I think a big part of that is organizing is huge. And, you know, when it comes to this media realm, that's also something that needs to be valued as principle. You can't just put yourself on a camera and say say certain things or say that you rock with this or you don't rock with that, and you don't have any principled historical analysis to back that. And so I think that's why Rise Up Morning Show is here. And so again, I pass it over to Buna.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac. You know, there's a saying in which exists in several African languages, including Yoruba, if I'm not mistaken, which says that until the lion tells a story, the hunter will always be the hero, right? That's why we have to master our own narratives, come up with our own narratives, impose it, because the master will always, you know, including fund other people to tell our history from their own perspective, right? And to answer your two questions, I will use two quotes from Malcolm X. The first one is actual an image. There is a speech that you can find on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, which he made in 1963 after Donald Stokes was shot. So Malcolm basically said that if I slap you with my fingers, I can hurt you, okay? But the only thing I can do to make it more powerful is to bring them together, right? That's why you need to organize, because together we'll be stronger. And all the leaders of the Pan-African struggle have been in organizations, right? So we have to follow their path. And the second quote, I think it was in the charter of the Organization of African American Unity, when Malcolm said that education is our passport to the future, because tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today, right?
Word. Now, I definitely appreciate that, good people. You're checking out the Rise Up Morning Show. This is the first show. Y'all good? First show, how we doing? We all right?
We good.
We all right.
Okay.
Good.
We ready to do like 100 more shows or what?
1,000.
We gonna see.
Okay.
100,000.
1,000? Okay. Y'all got me tired already.
Until we free, man.
No doubt.
Then we can change the name, right?
Yeah, indeed. Right. We be rose up already. But anyway, you're checking out the Rise Up Morning Show. We're going to be back with you in a few ticks. We have a special guest coming up. We probably said his name like 8 times already, so we already let the cat out the bag. But anyway, we want to say, again, happy birthday to Asada Shakur, who turned 77 years old. You know, no doubt. She's out in Cuba, and we say that...
But you ain't heard that from us.
You ain't hear me though. You know, and
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. You might have on the Rise Up Morning Show one day. You know what I mean? Feeling good.
Gotta make it happen. Yeah.
Hey, anything can happen. Anyway, Rise Up Morning Show. We'll be right back at you. Take us to that break real quick.
Yes, sir.
I want to live in a country where freedom means something. I really didn't know what to expect. I had these like crazy images, because even though I considered myself a socialist, I considered myself someone who really identified with the Cuban Revolution, I had been raised on a diet of anti-communism. And so I came here and I was like expecting, first of all, everybody to look like Fidel. I thought everybody was going to wear green fatigues and stuff. It was just like a crazy thing. And I thought people would be talking like the revolution. You know what I mean? I just had these crazy stereotypes. And then when I came, it was like, wow, a whole new world. The first thing that hit me was, just how beautiful the nature is here. Whether it's the sea, whether it's the plants. This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Everything is so lush, so green, so ripe. And, just the climate made me immediately feel at home. I was very much impressed by the healthcare system, by the education system, by the sports teams, by all of the many things that the revolution has been able to accomplish. What has impressed me most has been how people live, just how people relate to each other. I mean, I come from a society that is literally at war with itself. I didn't even know how to react to people when I came here. People would just come off the street and start talking to me, and I would immediately get paranoid. What do they want? It was very difficult for me to realize. Somebody would say, what time is it, or where did you buy that? Because Cubans will come up to you and just talk to you. Whether you were in a store or on a line, and that was something very different. That human contact.
What's happening, good people? We are live and direct. This is where we at? This is our
Rise up.
Rise Up.
We're Rise Up, yeah.
Hey, I'm sleeping on the job. This is the Rise Up International Morning Show, and today we have a special guest. Our first guest, we have this young man right here, who is a veteran, an OG, a fighter, a former political prisoner. And he's up early or late on his end joining us. We want to introduce y'all to Dhoruba bin Wahad. Yo, Dhoruba, what's happening, my man?
What's going on, black man?
Hey, man. We try to be as cool as you. I brought a couple friends along, man, to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do.
I ain't trying to meet nobody, bro.
You already met.
I ain't trying to meet nobody. I ain't trying. I understand that in the struggle, there are no strangers, only comrades that never met. But right now, the way the shit is out here, I ain't trying to meet nobody, black.
So we gonna act like you already know everybody, so we ain't gotta meet no more. Anyway, man, appreciate you coming on, man. This is the inaugural show of Rise Up Morning Show. I got kind of tongue tied a little while ago. I forgot where I was at. I was about the names, places I wasn't even at.
That's because you're doing so many shows all over the place, man. You worse than Steve Harvey, man.
See how you gonna treat me? Y'all shouldn't even accept that. But anyway,
at least that knucklehead is getting paid. We so broke we can't pay attention. This shit is crazy.
Hey, man.
I can't even get a ticket back. I can't even get a ticket back to Babylon, man. They usually sack niggas from Africa and send them back to Babylon. We didn't need a passport. We came in jock straps and loincloths and shit. I can't even get out this motherfucker. But anyway, so let's get rolling, man. So what's taking place?
No doubt, man. No doubt. First of all, I want to introduce you to our co-host. Matter of fact, if y'all
Thank
don't
you,
mind,
baby.
introduce yourselves.
I do need a cushion. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, that's how
I mean,
I'm doing it.
you
You don't know what I
disappeared
had
a little
to
bit.
go through to get on the internet, man. You don't know what I had to go through to get on the internet. My main spot, the wireless is down, and it went down just before you were supposed to. Hey, excuse me, could you pick up that piece of paper for me, please, honey? I appreciate that.
Anyway, so for folks who are unaware, this is Dhoruba bin
Thank you.
Wahad, veteran Panther, BLA, freedom fighter, etc. Right now, one of the things we're working on is the building of a united front. So for our co-host, if you don't mind, introduce yourselves, because I don't know if he's familiar with you, since he talking about he don't want to meet nobody else. We don't care about all that. Let's just get to it.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
just rhetoric, huh?
Yeah,
Y'all
it's
just
just
gonna
rhetoric.
diss me, right? That was just rhetoric.
No doubt.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll go. So yeah, peace, much respect, Dhoruba. My name is Fernando. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I work with the Pan-African League Umoja, hip hop artivist as well, based in France right now.
No doubt.
Wow, you in Paris?
I'm in Rennes, about an hour and a half away from Paris.
Oh, you in Rennes, huh?
Mhm.
So do you know the brothers and sisters in the Black Power over there?
Yeah, of
Black
course, yeah.
Power. Yeah, because I think I'm going to be coming through there again, maybe later this year if they let me in.
Okay.
But yeah, because there's a lot going on over here in Africa that I've been trying to get folks to network with. You know, solidarity is more than just rhetoric nowadays, and solidarity now can be codified as supporting terrorist organizations. You see, they
So
criminalize
let's get these
solidarity.
intros through first, man. Then we'll wrap on the joint. Boona looking nervous over there, so we'll go with him next.
Yeah, so I'm Buna. I'm also based in Paris. I actually met Dhoruba 2 years ago when he came to Paris. I sent you guys the picture.
Yeah, we did. That's right. Yeah, you sent some. Yeah. How
Yeah,
you
we're also
doing?
trying to have Dhoruba last year in France, but unfortunately it was not possible. But hopefully this year we can make it.
No doubt.
Yeah, man.
Along with the comrades in Vienna, London, whatever. It's like the same tour that you did 2 years ago when you came to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So glad to be on the show with one of our inspirators.
I see. As long as you still fighting, black man, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's good.
We working on them, Dhoruba. We know we got to check you over there modeling. But Isaac, you could go ahead and rock real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, it's always an honor to meet new elders. My name is Isaac Jasper. I am a volunteer with the Fed Up for Palestine organization. It's an on-the-ground grassroots movement, Palestinian-led. I'm also a Pan-Africanist, and I'm the founder of the Indigenous Nightmare Network, which focuses on decolonial theory in many different facets. So thank you again for being on.
Thank you.
Go to Kimber.
Go with me. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Hey, peace, Uhuru, comrade. We have met. So this is the first time. I teach. I'm a professor at Medgar Evers College, and hopefully we can get you over there. But I'm gonna stay on track right now. I've organized with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and African People's Socialist Party in the past. Currently, I'm not active, but I still support the work. I'm with We Charge Colonialism media platform and several other Curb Fest for political prisoners and the Claim Malcolm X State Committee. Yeah, that's me. Not all of me, but
don't spread yourself too thin there, black man.
Indeed.
We got one sister who I think you might have met a while back. She's over on the West Coast right now, out of Atlanta. We got Ife Jai. Ife, you're on mute, sis.
I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce myself as you might know me through my family. So I am the niece of Dr. Akinyele Umoja and Aminata Umoja.
Dr. Akinyele.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm Nate Peoples. So I'm one of those MXGM New African People Organization children. That's me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna apologize to you, sister, for Kalonji for not having any gender equality on this rise up, man. But it's all
He
good.
tried.
He ain't tried. Yeah, he ain't tried. Y'all giving him the benefit of the doubt when the doubt is benefit when the benefit is doubtful.
It's doubtful.
Say you gonna throw me on the bus, and y'all gonna roll with it too. But it's all good. Now we invited several sisters, man, and they was like, man, listen, we'll see how the first show go.
I'm the guinea pig.
You know you ain't invite no sisters. Stop lying, man.
We had Boona call the ball, and it didn't work out that way. But anyway,
Sister Ife is holding it down.
I'm holding it down. I'm also very educated and a professor as well. I'm an African Studies professor and a hip hop artist as well.
Okay, cool. What school? What academic program you in? I mean, what school?
Black Studies. I do Black Studies, and I'm in Los Angeles. So I teach at a trade school. I'm in the community colleges here in California. I'm teaching at 3 different schools here, but I'm in the community colleges.
Whoa.
You know, just a fun fact, y'all.
Y'all ain't messing around. Huh? Y'all
no,
99 different organizations.
We can't play. just a fun fact. You know, most of our people in the United States of America go to community colleges. Most African people, new African people, we end up going to community colleges more than we go to 4-year universities. So just as a fun fact, if you ever volunteer your time, Kalanji, I know my brother Ikemba said that he was a professor as well. Go teach at a community college. We really reach a lot of our people in the community college sector. So yeah,
I like how Ife just slammed everybody that's teaching at these other colleges and universities.
No shade. I love George Jackson University. I definitely am familiar with George Jackson University. So shouts out.
No doubt. So D, man, you know, we invited you on today. Again, you are the first guest on the Rise Up Morning Show. So I think we're all cool with having you on as the first guest. I ain't gonna tell you who Boona wanted to bring on first, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think so. I'm not sure.
Oh man.
But
you want to bring on Mama Llama?
Ain't right.
I ain't saying that. That's him. But anyway, listen.
Bulletproof dashiki.
Hey man.
Yeah.
Getting it started.
Oh, I love this guy.
Nah. I take that back. You know, I'm talking about a united front, and I'm being divisive.
Come on, Baba. Yeah, we all together today.
Anyway, I can't even get started. Hey, I'm gonna let one of y'all start. You're gonna mess my program up. But
well, you know, I guess we're jumping right into it, right? We're just asking Babas just to talk on the times. So tell me what you thought when Trump got shot. That's what everybody's talking about right now.
She went straight to it.
Let's go straight to it.
You know what I thought. They missed.
Come on.
That motherfucker should have got him. You know, they missed. They gave him. Look at the cracker. He's up there throwing a fist up in the air like he just don't care. You see what I'm saying? He's a pussy, man. And that's no denigration to women, you know. But
because pussy's power, baby. That ain't it. That ain't no disrespect. Actually, we need to say something different. Yeah.
Now you see, you sound like Eldridge Cleaver. Now and you know how that go down on the West Coast.
So did you believe it? Did you think it was a hoax? Did you think it was authentic assassination attempt moment, or did you think it was staged and superficial? What did you think?
That's a good question. I don't, you know, I'm not one to buy into conspiracy theories, you know. So I just think the young man was a bad shot, and I was watching a news report where they had this professional police sniper. And he was running down the likelihood of hitting him from that distance. And he said basically trained snipers could have to roll back his dome, you know, with their
Mhm.
eyes closed.
Yeah.
You
Oh
see,
wow.
so you know, he was inexperienced in that respect, you know. So I think that was the major reason that he missed, because I don't think it was staged to that degree of precision. I mean, he could. I mean, what if he blinked and actually shot it?
Yeah.
You see,
Mhm.
and but in order to had been a conspiracy, you would have some second sniper somewhere. You understand? Who's much more adept at ambush, and then he would have shot him, and then they would have killed that guy, and he would have been the fall guy. You know, the old JFK trick. You
Yeah.
Mm.
know, but so I don't think it was staged. I think once they get into this young man's and he was a Republican. He's a right wing a Trumpite. This kid, you know.
The
So
shooter.
this doesn't, yeah, because they can't spin the story that this was coming from the left and from some, you know, radical leftists. They can't spin it that way because he was actually a Republican. You see,
So I
and
got a
had right
question.
wing politics. You see,
But to your point though,
so
D, just looking at the crowd, the thing that's confusing about me to me, it's like these are the folks that was behind them. I'm quite clear. I know you, and I know plenty of other Africans, the folks on this screen right here. If someone was bussing in that direction, I think that we probably wouldn't be standing up looking around.
Chilling back there. They look
Hey,
like
hey, Kalanji, I was going to say that to you just for transparency, so you know who you're dealing with. Somebody trying
Right.
to blow my head off, I'm not getting up, putting
Yeah,
up
I ain't
fist. I just want
well, you know, white folks, but you know, white folks is crazy, man. You know, they watch horror movies and they don't really run from ghosts and all of that shit. They just scream. Black folks don't be walking through no cemetery on Halloween night, yeah, and all that
no.
dumb shit. So if it was black people, you understand the background behind them probably would have been empty and quick. But
You know,
white folks is looking around. I mean, you know, they feel entitled, man.
yeah.
They think they're gonna get out this life alive, you know, and ain't nobody get out this life alive, black man. You
Yeah,
see,
you know,
so I don't know. We could chalk that up to a reaction to a
mm,
situation where they felt. I mean, it's a Trump rally.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it could have been fireworks,
well, that's
but the
true.
shots were so far away. The shots were so far away. They didn't resonate like fireworks. If you listen
Right.
to the video, it's basically pops, small
Right.
pop, because
Right.
the and the rifleman, the sniper was quite a distance. I think he was 200 yards away, and
On the rooftop. Right.
and so yeah, and so the ballistics with that. I mean, they showing pictures of the actual vapor trail of the bullets. Did you see that one?
I didn't see
Mm,
it.
With
I
the vapor,
did.
yeah, they had. Did you see that, sister? You saw that one?
No,
Where they
no,
was,
no.
yeah, they on the news they were showing an enhanced picture of Trump in the moment that the bullet started flying, and there was and the vapor trail of the bullet was circled,
Mm.
and everybody's sitting behind the vapor trail. You
Mm,
see, so I don't know. You know, I do know that the fascists and white supremacy and the right will definitely use this
yeah.
to their own benefit. And as we can see, you know, it has put a chilling effect, not a chilling effect, it has damped down the so-called neoliberals and the racists in the Democratic Party. It has dampened their ability or their rhetoric um, um, defining Trump and what he stands for in terms of democracy
Yeah.
in America in terms of democratic fascism. So I was just on Netflix Freeman's show with Ajimu Baraka, and we were talking about the theme was how they're spinning this, how this is being
Yeah.
spun.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's no place for violence in America. Hey, come on, that's like saying
And I
there's no
mean,
clowns in the
you
carnival.
know, let me
You know,
let me ask you this, Baba, because that's a part of I think why we want it to be a little conspiracy ish. Because there's a part of us that knows, first and foremost, that COINTELPRO is real. I think we all have accepted that they will do things to manipulate stuff. And to the extent of which they do that, no one never knows. Like, we never know that at the time. It's always a after the fact, right? But there's something that's very ripple effect. He's empowered. We usually associate assassination attempts with people who are for the people. Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, just folks that stand for or against the government. That's really what I want to say. We usually see people who are standing against the government being assassinated. So when we see Donald Trump, how do you think that that's being spinned? Because now he looks like someone of the people.
But isn't Trump?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that. Would you gonna say something, brother?
Well, Trump was someone who symbolized that, though. In his last election, as someone who was against the status quo. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's a populist. He's a right-wing reactionary populist, and we know historically, in fact, the rise of fascism has always accompanied and been a political catapult for populist reactionaries. Whether we're talking about Mussolini, whether we're talking about Adolf Hitler, whether we're talking about the different Pinochet's murderers, the fascists have always began their authoritarian rule behind a populace. And history doesn't repeat itself; it just rhymes. So I don't think, like the brother pointed out, Trump portrays himself as anti-establishment. He portrayed himself as he was going to clean up the swamp. He portrayed himself as this populist. And if you look at the MAGA supporters, I mean, these people are dumb as bricks. I mean, and they have absolutely zero understanding of history, of their, even why they are the way they are. They haven't got a clue why they're living in a trailer. And so they put it on other people and other groups. But if we look at the politics of the so-called MAGA movement, it's the same politics of white supremacy that have typified the United States: anti-immigration, anti-migrant, pitting migrants against black people, talking about they're going to take our welfare checks and all of this crap. You see, so all of the games and the maneuvers are the same. And the difference between that, if you notice, when they were talking about Lee Harvey Oswald, they were making associations between him and the communist left and the KGB and the Soviet Union. And then they had the guy that came along and killed him was a connection with the mob. You see what I'm saying? He, Jack Ruby and all that. You see, but this one, the kid is a Republican. He's a right-wing Republican, 20 years old, no less. You see, and if you look at the way they talk about him, they don't talk about him like he's one of theirs. They use terms like soy boy, which is supposed to mean that he's effeminate because he was raised on soy milk as opposed to cow milk. And I got a problem with that too, because cow milk is for baby cows. So I don't drink cow milk personally. So if he was a soy boy, he had a lot going for him. You see, as far as I'm concerned, at least as far as vegans and the health and the radical vegans and stuff. But anyway, I'm saying that he was portrayed as a populist. And I just want to put this in, because maybe other folks could drop it, is that one of the things that I'm writing up in calling for anti-fascist, anti-racist national united front is the role of the college electoral college in American politics. If you remember, Trump was elected with an electoral college vote, and not with the majority, not with the mass vote. An electoral college system was established by the so-called founding fathers to ensure that their property and their power would remain in their hands and wouldn't be subject to expropriation by the masses. So that's why you have the electoral college system. You don't have a parliamentary system, you see. And so Trump comes along as a populist, you understand, in which we know it'll probably be a close election. There'll probably be a close race, and so the real prize is the electoral college. You see, I don't believe that personally. I don't believe that Trump that 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 he could get elected by by a popular vote, because when you look at the stats, his constituency, his major core supporters, so-called MAGA folks, they only represent around 70 to 75 million people, supposedly. And the United States population is, I believe, over 300 and something million.
About
And
318.
yeah, and when you look at the breakdown of voters, independents, not Republicans, so-called independents, not Republicans, and not Democrats. Independents represent something like, I think, 38% or some figure of the electorate, and then when they were polled, the majority of them weren't in favor of Trump. So maybe this assassination might swing them, some independents, but if everything went the way it's supposed to go, I think he would lose the popular vote, and again win the electoral college vote, and also, we have to look at these Negroes that we have running around fronting, the Meeks and the Jeffries and that, what was that bald head, knucklehead down in South Carolina? What's his name again?
Tim Scott.
The one. No,
Was
the
that
other one, the one that's in the Democratic Party, the slam dunk Biden. When they saw that he was getting ready to win the Democratic nomination, he slam dunked him. He was talking about black people in the streets, got to act like they got some sense to come off this rhetoric about defund the police. What's that nigga's name? Clyburn.
Clyburn.
Yeah, Clyburn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Uncle Remus. That dude. Yeah. And you got to remember, we got to hold him responsible for Biden, because if it wasn't for him, old sheepdog Bernie would have got the nomination. You see? So now everybody's talking about, Genocide Joe is too old. He's kind of senile. He can't remember his own name. I'm saying, so, I think actually in reality that he probably will bite the dust in November before Trump, and he might die just of natural causes before Trump, and then what you left with? You left with girlfriend. You see?
I think that's the play. I don't know. I've been thinking that lately. Like, the play is for her to be like the first black, quote unquote, black president. So that's why he did. They don't want him to the side.
Brother, if girlfriend, if Genocide Joe kicked the bucket and girlfriend was the de facto nominee, Trump will hand her her handbag. Listen, she ain't gonna beat Trump.
These white folks
she
ain't gonna
won't.
have it.
Although they got polls that say she would. They got some polls that say she would now.
But I think the play is they know Genocide Joe won't make it through his 4 years. That's what that's his name there. I'm going with that. Like, they don't think that he's going. So when he kicks the bucket or the can, whatever it is, then she'll become president, right? Or that's how it goes, right? The vice president becomes president.
Yeah.
But we always could have a plane crash, and then the
You still
Speaker of the
muted,
House
Ife.
becomes the president. I'm muted.
No, Ife. I'm sorry. I think she's trying to say something. Yeah, we can't hear you, Ife.
Yeah.
It don't look like she's muted though, but
she
I
is.
don't know. Oh, she is.
It might be her mic. We can't hear her saying anything though. You might need to unplug your mic and plug it back up.
Dhoruba, I had a question in regards to how this is going to be played out in the wake of Project 2025. how they're going to use this to manipulate individuals into thinking that a book written by the Heritage Foundation, which is riddled in white hegemony, is going to somehow fix these issues, when the very problem is Donald Trump himself and American, as you described, democratic fascism. So if you can just elaborate how this is going to be used as a ploy to get individuals to be heavily indoctrinated and via manipulation into believing that Project 2025 is something that we need to strive for, which is ultimately the demise of our liberation if it is administered. It's equivalent to the Ronald Reagan bill that was administered, for which 60% of that is made into law that we see today. So if I could get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you see, I'm glad you brought that up. Just Project 2025 is we need to understand this Project 2025 is not just the right wing agenda. Both parties, both sides of the electoral spectrum, the mainstream electoral spectrum, endorses this. One plays like, it's a problem. The other one says this is what we're going to do. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we have to put this in this historical moment. Just a couple of months ago, when the campuses were aflame with protests in support of Palestine, and students were taking to building tent cities on dozens of campuses. Out of that struggle, and as that genocide unfolded, you got to understand this is unprecedented. A genocide unfolding in real time. Okay. Now, most genocides by fascists or reactionary empires were done under the guise of a war, right? Whereas this genocide is occurring as a consequence of an occupation. Okay. And the first thing they tried to do was to try to spin the dialogue and said that this was all anti-Semitic. Right? They tried to flip the script. Well, these kids found out over the course of their demonstrations that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. The Zionism is a reactionary white supremacist ideology. So now here we got these young folks now, okay, who just got beat up, just got kicked off the campus, still watching this genocide occur, still are calling for their government to stop supplying weapons to the European settled state of Israel. So they got some consciousness. So what's next? What's next is, while they're on vacation out here now, there's an educational moment for us, for activists, to mobilize and to bring under the tent of activism all of these young folks who are totally disgruntled with the American system as they now see it. Okay, so that's one reason why I thought, and Kalanji thought, that this is the time to call for a united front. Okay, and bring as many people as we can into an organization and into a movement that has a common enemy, that will enable us to build over the next 4 years of whoever gets into power, because the next 4 years is not going to stop the collapse of the American empire. The next 4 years is not going to see the end of the conflict in Western Asia.
Right.
It's not going to see it will see the end of Ukraine and things like that. That's going to change the political dynamics. But having said all of that, what does the enemy envision? If I can see this, they can see it, right? So their strategy, because we've been there and did this, is encapsulation. Now, how do they encapsulate all of this energy and all of this anti-American support for Israel? How do they encapsulate this and turn it away from becoming a revolutionary or even an alternative to the two political parties, the movement to build a movement that could translate into a political? How do they do that? They encapsulate. Now, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a strategy by which the reactionary governments create organizations to siphon off the energy and the people who want to really do something, who really want to struggle. Now, all of a sudden, I was talking to this with Kalanji. all of a sudden popping up all over the country, original Black Panthers, our original, quote, Black Panthers, our original BLA members. You understand? All of a sudden they're popping up in Milwaukee, in California, in Chicago, all over, right? Now, they pop up, and we're looking at Project 2025, and the government is saying there's going to be resistance to this from the Black community, from migrants, from people of color, and there's going to be a segment of them who are not going to take no shit. They're going to want to engage in direct armed struggle. They want to engage in direct self-defense against the empowered agents of the state, armed agents of the state, because that's what's happening. Okay, the right wing feels empowered. You know, they think they're going to, you know, do drive-bys in the hood and all of this stuff. That, you know, the gloves are off. So they know that we're going to try to resist, and we're going to try to build movements that can resist. So they encapsulate the idea and the notion of those movements. And when you ask historically, I remember one brother was talking about investigating and just coming into understanding of the radical traditions and the radical history that's being exposed now. One thing is, the only organization in the past 50 years that has the experience of building a Black underground and building instruments against fascism and self-defense was the Black Panther Party and the BLA. And so if we look at why these so-called original Panthers are popping up, these original BLA are popping up, and they're creating these organizations to talk about, you know, yeah, we original BLA. Kids go look at the book. Oh, the BLA was about this. It was about this type of work. Yeah, that's what I'm about. So they'll gravitate to that. And at the appropriate moment, of course, the enemy will take it down like they did about that with that, what, no fucking around, no fucking around movement. Remember that one that had all these folks running around with guns and stuff? Yeah. They just dismantled that. When was the last time you heard from them? You see what I'm saying? And for 14 years, they did just that. They hijacked the legacy of the Black Panther Party and the BLA with the new Black Panther Party. And those brothers and sisters that was in that formation for 14 years, I didn't even know they was around that long until I really checked them out. They were around a long time, and they have left no programs in the community. They have left no organizations in the community. Their whole purpose was to siphon off the energy of young people who wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Black Panther Party and follow in the footsteps of socialist, radical, revolutionary organization. So I think encapsulation is what's happening right now as we speak. And in anticipation of these campuses opening back up, in anticipation of Israel demise, Israel will not win this war. In fact, this is the end of that Zionist state. Okay, so how it will end, what form it will take, what will take its place, and substitute for it. I guess there's a lot to be said for that. I can't say myself that I know all those answers, but I can say from experience that the enemy is working now to create false networks, false organizations, so that can siphon off the energy and the politics of those who want to resist in terms of self-defense against police, in terms of a decentralization of police, community control of public safety. These are all programs that the Panther Party, when it organized this, it's the first anti-fascist united front in 1969. That's what came out of that, community control of the police. The NCCF chapters across the country, you know, were charged with putting on the referendum on the ballot community control of police, and the police unions and the government went all in on making sure that didn't work. And in fact, what came out of that was a civilian complaint review board. That was the compromise that came out of that. That was championed by these Negroes, the comprador class then. It was championed by that because community control of the police seemed too radical, you see. And so I think that this is what's going to happen now. You know, when if it, I'm quite sure all of you remember Black Lives Matter and how they talked about defund the police, right? Which was an absurd slogan. No police state is going to defund disarmed agents. So just to make that call tells you that the people that were making that call didn't think that through, didn't have a real analysis of capitalism, of the armed of capitalist state, of the nation state, how it evolved. Because if they wanted to call for anything, they should have called for community control of public safety, of the police, because all politics is local. And that's an achievable goal on a local level. You could organize for that. You can get referendums on the ballot with 20,000 signatures or something, and vote for it. And the only ones that's going to oppose it is the police unions. You see, so we see now that defund the police was a ruse, was used by the enemy to say that what we needed was not defunding law enforcement, but giving them more money and better training. You see, and this should be an example for young people like yourselves, that when you are in a mass movement or organization and you want your party line, your organizational line to reflect a mass line that the people can identify with, that you use slogans that cannot be co-opted by the enemy. You have to come up with slogans that the opposition can't co-opt. And that's why you see the Black Panther Party, the slogans we use was black power, power to the people, power to all people, black power to black people, yellow power to yellow. We use those type of slogans. Off the pig. Okay, and what was a pig? We defined the pig. A pig wasn't just a cop; it was an avaricious landlord. It was a greedy banker. It was all up. That's what a pig was. So when we say off the pig, what the police are going to say? Off the people? Off us? What they going to say? But when Black Lives Matter comes up with their bullshit slogans, they say, well, blue lives matter, green lives matter. You know, a bear's life matter, trees matter. You see, and yeah, that's what they did. And look at how they evolved that. Look at Black Lives Matter, how it came into existence. It was a classic example of the encapsulation I'm talking about. Look at the class of individuals that led it. Look at the event, Trayvon Martin's murder, that spawned the slogan Black Lives Matter. Okay, and we know in America, Black lives ain't never mattered. White folks didn't mind, and black folks didn't matter. It was mind over matter. We know that shit. So why would you name an organization Black Lives Matter, knowing it can be co-opted? If they would have said Black liberation mattered, if they would have said Black freedom mattered, then you would have had a whole different script.
But Dhoruba, and you know, to their credit, Bears' lives do matter. Anyway, we're gonna go to another question.
Whose lives matter?
Let's I said Bears'
you
lives.
You got to clarify that, man. Because have you ever read that book and saved 6 for the pallbearers?
Yeah.
It was a war book, a war novel. You ever read that?
No,
it said kill them all except 6 and save them for the pallbearers. I don't know who you talking to. I don't know who you talking about.
You talking about the Bears? Huggy.
Three of them. It's three of them.
But anyway, Boona, Fernando, y'all want to jump in? Y'all looking shy and whatnot. Boona was talking all this junk like, yeah,
I was just listening.
Come on. Yeah. Now he want to get quiet. He been quiet the whole show.
Dropping knowledge. He's dropping knowledge.
No, I wanted to get Dhoruba's analysis on the, what I would say, the anti-colonial movement on the African continent, since he's based in Ghana, I believe. You know, recently we've seen in several countries, including the Sahel countries, that the populations, African masses have, you know, they rose up against French colonialism. In Niger, also recently, they've asked the U.S. Military base, I think it's one of the largest rent bases in Africa or in the world, in Agadez. So they decided to, you know, they actually asked the U.S. to leave. I don't know if they've actually done it, but in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they've also expelled the French army. So, and even in Kenya, we've also seen that the people are rising up against the, policy imposed by the neo-colonial governments. So I was wondering if you could give us your analysis on that. Do you think that it's a authentic new anti-colonial movement that we're witnessing now? And also, as people living as minorities in the African diaspora, what are the lessons that we can learn from it, especially in the context of rising fascism? We've talked about the U.S., right? But in Europe also, the far right-wing white supremacist parties are, they're rising in all countries. In Italy, they're in power. In France, they almost won the parliamentary election. In the UK, they got, I think they got 4 million votes, even members of parliament now. In Spain, in Portugal. So as people who are living as African minorities of African diaspora in Europe, what are the lessons that we can learn from the anti-colonial movement that have been rising up in Africa over the past 5 years? Well, I think the question was too long. We lost him now.
Right.
So anyway, I guess Ife will take his place. So Dhoruba got
yeah, I will.
Cointel Pro attack, right? New Cointel Pro.
So, see, Buna saved it for last. We have about unfortunately, Dhoruba's in Ghana and his call dropped. I'm sure that he should be able to come back in. But we have about 10 minutes left before we wrap. And, I want to definitely, get your take on what you all have heard thus far. And we can start with Ife since she's in the driver's seat over there right now.
All right. Yeah, no, this has been a good conversation. I think one of the things that the Baba said that I love is there's wisdom in activism. I think a lot of our young people right now might be feeling like they're doing things for the very first time, not realizing that there's been like vetted strategies and vetted theories and things that have already been tried and true from our elders. So I appreciate, the wisdom of activism, because one thing that we can say is that, in this protracted struggle that we're in, every generation really does have a moment to swing. And like, what are we going to do with our swing? We want to be really intentional with that swinging moment. I do think that the elders have done a lot of work that we don't have to repeat. You know what I mean? And so being a little more strategic about what our activism looks like, I think is very powerful, because even as I'm looking at the clips that we're replaying, there's like levels to organizing. This is one level, but then there's also like the thinking level. You know what I mean? And there's also the institutional building level. So I just appreciate the wisdom of activism, and I want to, I think, encourage folks to realize that there's order to this shit. It's not just chaos and mayhem, and it might look like that on TV, but there's a lot of organizing and intentional strategy that goes into our liberation struggle. And so we don't have to recreate the wheel. We really can do the things that have worked for us, and I always want to encourage us to remember our spirituality. That's one of the things that Dr. Marimba Ani talks about a lot, is that a part of our trauma is that we literally lost our minds. And a part of that liberation is getting our minds back together, which is restoring our spirits. You know what I mean? So, just keeping the passion of revolutionary work on our forefront, but also knowing that there's real order to this shit. It's real strategy. Just don't go up and just throw a Mazel Tov cocktail just randomly. Be intentional with that shit. Throw it somewhere specifically. You know what I mean? And peep the wisdom of our elders, because they'll tell you, no, don't throw it there. Go throw it here, because that's where it really counts.
I want to, just throw a joke real quick. Just hearing Ife, she said, not a Molotov, she said a Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. That's the Jewish. I did the Jewish. I went Jewish.
She said, take that. Yeah, she's like, Mazel Tov. So anyway, no bar mitzvahs here. Sorry, y'all.
She meant all of this metaphorically too.
Yeah,
already know. It worked. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Y'all try to act like y'all ain't catch it. She caught it too. That was the MC. But listen, we have a few minutes left. You are watching Rise Up Morning Show. This is our inaugural show, and I think it's going to be a great show. What do you all think?
I'm
Oh,
enjoying it.
it's gonna be amazing, man.
Yeah,
No
keep
doubt.
getting
Powerful.
get like Baba Dhoruba. I didn't know he was such a gangster.
Oh,
Man, I'm surprised you ain't know that. You know, we don't hang with nothing but folks like that. You know, so definitely
Love it.
Hey,
we
but he
will.
said something too. Just really quick. When he talked about fascism, he went back to Mussolini.
Yeah.
Like that was it. It sparked a thought because we were talking about Project 2025,
Yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, it's really setting it up for that fascist. Well, America's already a fascist state,
Yeah.
but like really deepening that. And he mentioned something about the Electoral College that I just wanted to just like go back to the foundation of the Constitution. After Shays Rebellion, like if you do the history after Shays Rebellion, like Madison and all of them was talking about creating the Constitution and the Electoral College to check the power of the masses.
Right.
They felt that the masses had too much power and it could take away the liberty of the elite, of the power of the ruling class. So that's why that was part of the reason they put the Constitution in place in that Electoral College. So I just wanted to make that point too, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Definitely appreciate all you brothers and sisters or sister. Ruba tried to throw a rock at us, and y'all ain't even work with me on that. Y'all sit there like, yeah, he ain't invite no sisters on here. Yeah, he's a patriarch, so on and so forth. Y'all went in, man. And I thought, I expect that from Boona and Isaac, but Fernando and Kimber, man, what's up, man? I mean, we got to have a meeting on this.
Hey,
But
man, it's the Ruba, man. What you
you're gonna blame it on Dhoruba, right? That's that. It's funny that Ife was saying that she didn't know that he was so gangster. One of the things that has gotten me through my movement years is oftentimes I intentionally linked up with the most gangster OGs and elders. When I say OGs, I'm talking about original gorillas. I did it intentionally, so when folks say, "Did you talk to the elders?" I'm like, "Yeah, who you talk to?" I talked to Fulani, Ibn Fulani. I talked to blah blah blah. I talked to Dhoruba. I talked to Kamasi. I talked to OG Shaka. And then they just shut up because they know damn well that I did what y'all said we supposed to do. But like I said, I was real intentional. I've been these soft elders, I would save them if we was talking about, just pouring libation or something. We just like, okay, how would you like to pour this and keep it moving? Anyway, don't mind me.
Yeah, don't do it. Come on, you don't go there.
But I'm digging a hole already. For the viewers that's checking us out, this is Black Power Media. Be sure to subscribe. We are slowly approaching 50K on this platform right now. We are at 49,000, I believe 600 on the subscribers. We need all you to subscribe to what it is we're doing.
Yep.
This is a work in progress. As you notice, some of you be like, I didn't even know they had a morning show. Now we decided to do this today, and we did it, and we're going to do it again and again and again. The show will air every Tuesday through Friday from 8 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern. So again, we have folks from different time zones. Our brother Buna and Fernando over in France right now. Our brother Kimba located in Philadelphia. Isaac in Vegas. Ife in L.A. And I'm here in RBG, Rap Brown, Georgia, form of the thief and the slave. We're gonna take it out right now because we only have a couple minutes left.
Could I inquire or just input something when it comes to individuals understanding just the formation of the U.S. democratic constitution and whatnot? That is that derives from Haudenosaunee. So they couldn't even come up and formulate their own thought process of how they were going to act civilized with each other. So that just gets to tell you that there's no creativity when it comes to the constructs of and how this was created. There was no creativity. It was all stolen from indigenous intellect. And that even goes for individuals like Marx as well, which is why, different subject. But I just wanted to hone in on the fact that the Haudenosaunee could be credited for majority of what we see as the U.S. Constitution when it was constructed by those those Ofays. is essentially not even their work. And so I just wanted to make that clear. So.
No doubt, no doubt. Since we press for time, we will see y'all tomorrow. Sure. Check this show out tomorrow, and we appreciate our host. We're gonna take you out real quick. Rise Up Morning Show. Tell a friend, share it, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'm sorry, again, I gotta say this: there is no morning show like this. There's morning shows, and that's not throwing no rocks at nobody. So don't even get it twisted. Don't be running back. Go tell that. I don't really care. But in the real world, from a revolutionary perspective, we bringing the people something that the people deserve. Again, to my co-hosts, we appreciate you all joining us, and we're going to take you out with a little bit of Kwame Ture. Y'all be safe.
Rise up.
Organizations sprang up throughout the length and breadth of the African world. The Conventional People's Party, a mass party, sprang up in Ghana. The Democratic Party of Guinea, a mass party, sprang up in Guinea. Throughout the length and breadth of Africa, you had TANU, the Tanzanian African National Union, which is now the CCM. My Swahili is not as good as yours. It's Chumpa, Chimpuraza, Mazuri.
That's very good.
Oh, my Swahili is bad. Thank you. Chapa Chapman Puduzi. Exactly. And that's their new party. But all over Africa, mass parties sprung up. If you look at the Caribbean, mass parties sprung up. And if you look at the United States, mass movements sprang up. So the call was heeded for mass confrontation. Of course, the Fifth Pan-African Congress made two definite and precise resolutions, which I want to highlight. Of course, Pan-Africanism from the very beginning was anti-colonial. From the very beginning, it was anti-colonial. It was weak. So when they came, they didn't say to the Queen, we're going to put you out the country. They said, you must treat the natives right. You must educate them. You must prepare them for self-government. These are things that are weak, but they were anti-colonial in essence. We must not look at the form. And we got stronger, the more this anti-colonialism will express itself. Now, anti-colonialism is nothing but anti-capitalism. Because colonialism is nothing but an offshoot, an aspect of capitalism. Therefore, if you're anti-colonial, you must be anti-capitalist, if you're logical in your thinking, of course, and your actions. Some people are not, but we are speaking of logical people here. Yes. If you're anti-capitalist, then you must be socialist. Capitalism cannot unite Africa. Africa has to be united by socialism. Now, there's a lot of confusion here on this question of capitalism and socialism. Just recently, a young man said to me, but socialism died. I said, it did? He said, you didn't hear about it? I said, I missed the funeral. Of course, he spoke about the betrayals that occurred in the East. You must not let capitalism confuse your thinking. This is a struggle which Pan-Africanism takes on. We struggle against imperialism in the ideological arena because many people think that capitalism just wants to exploit your labor. It wants to confuse your thinking and make you think just like them. And this is where the real fight occurs. So therefore, this struggle of confusing the thinking, I told the man, I said, you're talking nonsense. Socialism cannot disappear. It cannot die. He said, yes, it can. I said, no. He said, how do you say that? I said, well, you are judging socialism by socialists. You don't do that. He said, I've never heard such nonsense. If you don't judge socialism by socialists, what do you judge it by? I say, you judge it by its principles. Every system is judged by its principles, never its adherents. So he still saw confusion. He said, you're just talking double talk. I said, okay, do you judge Christianity by Christians? So we must not be confused here. Socialism doesn't fall because of betrayal. No system does. The person who betrays themselves goes to the mud, but the system, with its eternal principles, keep marching on. If a system fell because of betrayal, Christianity would have been finished with Judas. At least Judas had the dignity to hang himself. Some of these who betray socialism don't have that dignity. Gorbachev still runs around speaking and picking up 30 pieces of silver everywhere. So socialism is an economic system, and there can only be two in the world, capitalism or socialism, because every economic system must answer one fundamental question. Who will own and control the wealth of the country? Who will own and control the means of production? The question can only be answered two ways. Either a few will own or everyone will own. It's as simple as that. And under capitalism, we say, please summarize that we might have. No, I'm going. I thought I had 20 minutes. It's my time. I thought I had 20 minutes. I was going by the clock. How much time do I have left? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm off. That's what I thought I did. I was watching it. No, I'm watching my clock. I'm irresponsible. I'm revolutionary. I go by time. I got my clock right here. Matter of fact, I can say it in 2 words, Black Power. And today we've gone to one, Pan-Africanism. Yeah.